The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
I'm a dangerous man with some money in my pocket. Keep up. So many pretty girls around me and they're waking up the rocket. Keep up. Why you mad? Fix your face. Ain't my fault they all be jacking. Keep up. Players only. Come on. Put your
Good evening, everybody. Thank you. Welcome to New Era Talk. This is your hostess with the mostest again, Cathy. Magic Myke, he's magic. He's invisible. Who knows where he is tonight? But I've conjured up my own magic. I brought on a new friend of mine. I'm so excited. Girls love it. We talked about this with my friend Amy last week. Girls love making new girlfriends. In less than a week, have made 2 new ones that I think are going to be lifelong friends of mine, so I'm really excited. But I just hope everybody had a really good week. Everybody's getting into the new year. Hopefully all of the New Year's resolutions are still holding true for you. I've got some, I mentioned last week that I had needed to do, and that was to, leave some people back in 2017, and I'm proud to say that I did, and I still haven't talked to them because sometimes that's hard. It's very easy to break into old patterns and habits with some of the people that you've hung out with in your life. So making sure you want to better yourself and making sure you want to just be around people that make you feel better about yourself and help you improve yourself or your situation and help you make money, or however you want to look at it. That's what you need to do. Surround yourself with good people. So speaking of good people, Barry Yantis, welcome to the show.
Well, gee, that was a nice introduction. Hi.
Hi. You know what? Thank you. I was so glad that we got to meet tonight and have some dinner.
I know.
Talk about some things. I mean, what I love is meeting women that have a work ethic, that have a passion, that just have all the energy and want to get things done, make things happen. So I'm so happy to have both you and Elena in my life. So I'm just, hey, it's great. I'm going to shut my door. My dogs are barking at somebody.
Fabulous, and I think it will continue for years.
Yes. Well, here's what I want to do. Okay, so I learned some things about you, but tell me a little bit. Tell me about your background.
Well, my professional background, if you will, is...
Well, we'll start with your personal. Where did you grow up? Tell me
where
about
did
you.
I grow up? Well, I grew up in small-town Minnesota. We had 301 people in the town. We're in Clearwater, kind of between the cities and St. Cloud. And I grew up with parents who were high school sweethearts. And we had just me and my biological brother, who are not even 10 months apart.
Wow.
Right? Yeah, you can't really get any closer, I don't think.
No, you can't. That's almost soon.
Yeah, well, I was early and that kind of thing, but yeah, not that much.
No.
When we got old enough, we said to Mom and Dad, "Wait a minute, we were both mistakes, weren't we?" And they, well, why would you say that? Well, because you were pregnant when you got married, if we do the math, and no one's dumb enough to have one 9 months later.
Oh. Whoops.
And of course, we got the, but we love you, we wouldn't have had it any other way, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but, so no, I grew up in a small town, and like I said, my parents were high school sweethearts, and it all sounds really great and wonderful, and really, I didn't have a bad childhood, but I did have an alcoholic father who cheated on my mom for 10 years.
Oh.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that, it created a lot of lasting impressions and effects, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
My dad owned the bar. Well, my parents owned the bar, but interestingly enough, they also owned it with my dad's
Oh, isn't she lovely? I immediately dislike her, by the way. So, okay.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Well, she's gone now, so, I mean, sadly, my mom is the only living parent I have left. But subsequently, my parents ended up divorcing, and my mom got remarried, to which I had this amazing stepfather.
Oh.
And I gained 4 stepsisters in the process. So,
wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Amazing, so the things that come out of what you think are horrible.
Right.
Right?
Right. And that's what I tell people. You know, I have lots of things in my past that I'm sure we'll talk about some of them, but, you know, I don't really regret any of them. Are there things that I never want to relive? Heck yeah. But they all made me who I am today.
Right.
And I like who I am today.
I like who you are, and I just got to know you. So I'm excited to learn all this stuff. I mean, this is all new stuff for me, so I'm very excited. So you grew up there. Then where did you end up?
Well, so then I wanted to get out of the little small town, so I came to the big city of Minneapolis. So really, I've been in Minnesota all my life. I came down here. I ended up working. I went into HR and spent the first basically 10 and a half years of my professional career with AT&T in corporate HR.
Mm.
Through the cellular and paging acquisitions and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun.
I was going to say, how many employees were running through there?
Oh my goodness! Back then, in that segment of the cellular area that I was in, I was a district person, and I probably had, I think, 600 people in our little region here that were kind of coming and going, and we were Air Signal and Cellular One, and then we were AT&T Cellular, and then we were they sold off the paging, and it was just this back and forth and up and down, and so really a lot of fun watching that industry grow. I mean, I was back in the big brick phone days.
I remember those.
Right?
Oh my God! But you were so cool if you had one. Not many people did.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Cell phone, man.
And you couldn't really throw them in your purse back then.
No, you couldn't. You had your own container to hold it in, right? It was like a
it
was like a briefcase.
Yep, you got it.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we're pretty close to the same age.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yes. So HR, my gosh, that's one of those jobs that is really loveless. I have some very good friends that I became good friends with because I worked with them a lot in HR as a manager at a big insurance company in Minneapolis. And I'll tell you what, that's a hard thing. I mean, when people, when you call them up, like when we were talking earlier, it's like, can you come down and talk to me? I mean, it's like being called to the principal's office.
Oh my God, if I had a dime every time someone said that, I could have retired.
Oh my gosh. Well, we'll talk about retirement too. That's part of, the eras in our lives.
Right.
Hopefully we'll be there someday soon. But okay, so HR, I'm gonna tell you about one of my employees. Okay. So this she's a black woman, younger than me. Okay, maybe 5 years younger than me.
Okay.
Well, maybe closer. But she wasn't very good at her job. I did not hire her. I acquired her, okay, on my team. And she worked in my call center at this insurance company. And, I worked with her. I coached her. I listened to her calls, gave her, all of the feedback. Here's what was really good. What do you feel like you could work on? Blah, 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 blah. And I would get so many complaints about her. And so, as you know, I mean, what's the path that you have to take down? You have a verbal, you have a written, you go through all of that. Well, I had, other managers come to me, other employees come to me, and we really had to, it was like she didn't realize, like when you let somebody go, it should never be a surprise, right?
Correct.
Right. Oh my gosh. So we got to review time, and she had, all these different warnings in her file. She signed them. We talked about them. She looked at me, and she'd be, okay, And when we did the reviews, I always had them fill out their own review, and then I would fill it out, and we'd sit down and talk about it. And, and thank you. I was pretty proud of that, by the way. And, oh my gosh, and let's say it was just like, scores out of 1 to 5. She gave herself all 5s.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going, there's some kind of disconnect. But my darling friend in HR, she and I, worked on, it's like, all right, we know where this path is going, but she's in denial. And she started saying that everybody's out to get her. And, so it was like, all right. But anyway, like I had sent an email, and I blind copied my HR friend, and she did a reply all. Oops, right is right. And it was like, okay, well, now we have to move ahead. I mean, because we were working very closely with the legal department on this one, too. And because she, like she said, everybody was out to get her, and because there were things, I had had a surgery, so I had been out, and I hadn't even, she said I was out to get her. I'm like, I didn't even pull these up. These were all brought to me. But, so she had to be let go. We got, so we had the attorney sitting in there with us, and, let her go. And she came and sued the company and claimed age discrimination.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Yeah. And I couldn't believe
we make it so easy for people to sue.
What's that?
They make it so easy for people to sue.
Right.
Give them reasons. I should say they give them reasons so that there's a bias for them to sue, even if it's not true.
Right.
So you have to now jump through the hoops, and it's the hubbub of it all. So hopefully you were able to win it.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, are you kidding me? I have people that are like 10 and 20 years older than you on the team.
Right.
I mean, there was like so many factors of ages. I mean, every group of people you could imagine were on the team, and nobody else had a problem. So it was pretty crazy.
It is crazy, and it's just that the accountability. People, depending on their circumstance, whatever that is, how they were brought up, or how they're thinking, or whatever. Nobody wants to take responsibility.
Oh yes. Yeah, so, I mean, that's one of those things. I mean, that young lady, the term, right? She burned me out. I was like, I don't want to manage people. I was dealing with the aftermath of her stuff after I had left that department and moved to another department.
Oh, goodness.
I was still having to deal with it. I'm like, oh my God, why won't this go away? Just like, why are you guys taking so long? And it's just like, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's fired. What is this at will thing? Why can't we just fire her? But
Yeah.
do you ever have to deal with sexual harassment kind of situations?
Oh, yeah, all the time. All the time. And sometimes, it's so vague, and it's really...
He said, she said.
Yeah, and just, it's one person. I'm a huggy person, so I hug everybody, and they used to laugh because I would tell them you can't hug people, but I would be hugging vendors and everybody else because that's just who I am.
Right.
And, thankfully no one ever got their undies in a bunch about it. But, it's something so simple. And I always tell people, it's even hard to say, like, wow, Cathy, you look really nice. Those jeans are really cute. Or that's a cute blouse. Oh, well, she was looking at my blouse.
Oh, that means she was looking somewhere else. Yeah.
Right. It's like there are definite issues. I agree. And, I think probably the majority of people, if you look back, have been a victim of something.
Oh, my gosh.
Right? But
how about you?
There's also...
Have you been through it? Can you give an example? I'll give you one of mine.
Well, I could give you examples from, from being a kid, and, I remember going to my parents, or my mom dropping me off with a sitter. It was my brother and there were a couple other little boys, and, the old man went into the bathroom with me and was touching me inappropriately.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, and I remembered not telling my mom, because I was told not to, but making sure I never went back there again, and she never took me back there again. And honestly, she never knew about that incident until she read my book.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it even happened, just years ago when I was my last corporate job. I had a CFO who said things like, "Oh, you should wear that pink suit coat with the black, whatever." He's like, "I really like that one. That makes you look really good." So we were going to some kind of meeting, and I'm like, "You did not just say that to me."
Wow. Oh, no.
Yeah. And I'm sure in his defense, he thought he was being nice. It was, again, it's an era thing.
Right.
Your grandpa might have said that, your dad might have said that, and you would have been like, "Oh, well, that's what happened back in the 40s. Okay, fine." But we're not there anymore.
No.
So sometimes I think people have to give leeway.
Right. So Sherry, I had this guy. So here, this was kind of a win-win, and this is back in the 80s, okay?
Okay.
So people weren't really talking about, you weren't getting the sexual harassment training, okay?
Correct.
So I was a hostess at a restaurant, and, with my cute little 21-year-old being able to wear a tight-fitting sweater dress body, right?
Oh, yeah.
I remember those days. It was not that long ago. But, because it wasn't that long ago since I was 20, right? But
no, not at all.
Right. But there was a manager at this restaurant, and he always said the most horrible things. How about me and you in the back of your Lincoln? How about this? Let's go back here. Let's do this. And I'm 21 years old. I don't know jack about how to handle that kind of stuff. I would just go, gross. Go away, Jim. Ick. That was right. And he ended up, I went through so much of that. No, the things were horrible. I won't even say the things that he said. But he did it in front of other people. Yeah. And I would just be like, whatever, and just work. Well, he ended up firing me. And because he said something, and I said something back that he didn't like, and he told me I was fired. And I was devastated because I loved my job. I worked really hard there, and all my friends were there. And I even lived with the bartender and one of the regular customers in the owner's house.
Oh, boy.
It's like my life was kind of, involved with everything in that restaurant.
Right.
Well, the next day was my day off. The restaurant was closed. The day after, the owner and the general manager come in, and he's there doing my hostess stuff. Where's Cathy? Is she sick? She's never sick. She's always here. I fired her. Well, they called me. General manager, the owner, what happened? Told them. Said, "You're not fired, but take tomorrow off, and we'll see you the day after. You're getting paid. Don't worry, sweetie. But we'll take care of this. Can you work with them again?" And I said, "I'll work with them again, but I'm never going to respect them. Just know that." And they said, "Okay."
Right.
I come back. Guess who got his job? I did. He was fired. I went from being a hostess to the manager. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm 21 and I'm managing a restaurant. Crazy.
Right.
And they did it right back then. There's so
Right.
many times when that wouldn't have happened. So many people, I don't care, male or female. But I really lucked out. And that gave me really such a sense of, gosh, good feelings, because okay, if you work really hard. Sorry, what just happened to my computer? If you work really hard, it does pay off sometimes. And there's other times that it doesn't. But that was one of those cases where it did. And I had other weird things happen over the years, and I've been in male-dominated industries for so long.
Oh, yes.
Financial services, very much so.
Uh-huh.
But what do you think about these things that are coming out today?
Oh, boy. That's such a loaded question. And I'll tell you how I feel. Thankfully people can't throw stones at me right now, but I think it's really sad. I think that there's a lot of truth in a lot of it, and there are some people that really need to be held accountable.
Right.
It's sad that people, mostly women, but this happens to men too.
Right.
So I think there's people that have been silenced for so long, and I think that has really bad effects on people, whether they realize it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And so these people who have had to live with this and are finally, feeling like they have a voice, that makes my heart happy that they have a voice. It makes my heart sad that this is so prevalent in our world. I also think, though, that we've carried it to such extremes.
Dude,
that
I agree.
There are people that have lost their jobs. Maybe it shouldn't have been taken that far. And I'll preface that with saying there's so much we don't know because we shouldn't be privy to it.
Right.
So we're making judgments on limited information.
That's true.
But I also know from being inside of the corporate world for so long, for Fortune 100 companies, that there's so much that gets covered up.
Yep.
There's also so much that gets blown out of proportion.
Yes.
And so, I wish we were living in a world where honesty and love were a little more prevalent.
Well, and I completely agree. I also feel, and I'm glad that there's nobody around to throw stones at me. That's you can tell where I live. But what bothers me, Sherry, that sometimes I feel like there's a bandwagon effect.
Absolutely.
It's like, I'm kind of bothered you didn't say something 12 years ago.
Yes.
Why didn't you do it then? Okay, so I get that maybe you were scared, maybe you were embarrassed, but I don't think that's everybody. I think they're like, oh, I want my 15 minutes of fame.
Correct.
Terrible?
It is terrible.
I just feel like that happens more often than we realize.
It does happen. It happens a lot. That's liken it to a class action lawsuit. There are people who actually are involved to a big degree, and then there are people who just get in and ride the tails because they think they might make a few bucks.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same thing that happens here. And again, it's just not. It's not practiced, or the consequences aren't the same for the same or similar infractions. It's
right.
You can look at all these, whether it's a politician or an actor or an actress or a sports player. One gets a slap on the hand, one loses their job, one goes to jail. It's sad, but again, I say that knowing that there's a lot more to the story that we don't know.
That's right. There really is.
And that's the hard part, if you don't give people the information, they make it up themselves.
That's right. Well, social media makes things so much more out of proportion.
Yes.
And, quote unquote, fake news that we don't know if it's fake or not. It's hard to tell. But, speaking of stories, so obviously I haven't had time to read it yet, but here's Beyond the White Picket Fence.
Yes.
I want you to tell everybody about this a little bit. What's keeping you safe may be holding you back. And I'm just going to read the back of this here. It says, how's life? Are you lucky enough to wake up every day with everything going just as you planned, hoped, and dreamed? You jump out of bed full of anxious enthusiasm, ready to face and embrace the life you're living? Perhaps you're lucky enough to find yourself living in a cozy home, surrounded by delightful white picket fence, with a caring, loving, and stable spouse, able to stay home every day, creating the ideal life for your oh-so-perfect children. Do they exist? Do you have the career of your dreams, which provides you power, success, and financial stability? We all dream about an enchanting life behind that charming little white picket fence, but most of us discover that the fairy tale life we hoped for is far from perfect. Life delivers a series of twists and turns, forcing us to face many unexpected calamities. These unforeseen hardships, such as divorce, abuse, addiction, and illness, can upset the balance of your seamless life and force you to venture outside of your comfort zone. Join Sherry Yantis as she tells her own story and shares tips, pointers, and insights about venturing out and creating a life beyond the white picket fence.
User left your channel.
I do. It's still on. Okay, something's going on with my laptop. I'm sorry. Sherry, I'm so excited to read this.
I can't wait for you to read it.
Thank you.
Hear what you have to say.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me that. So, just that's all I've read so far is what I read to everybody tonight. But tell me, what made you sit down and decide to write this book?
Well, there were a lot of things. Mainly because I've had several, like everybody, and this is what I tell people, we all have a story, right? We've all had things happen to us, and people always say, I could write a book, I could write a book, I could write a book. And people used to say things to me like, well, how can you have all that going on and you're still smiling? How can you be happy and deal with all that?
Mm-hmm.
And the book isn't really about my story. It's about helping people get through, to be quite blunt, to get through the shit.
Yeah.
We all feel alone when we go through that. And you keep it in, and you don't want to tell people. It's just like what we just talked about. Why didn't you say something 12 years ago? You were embarrassed. You were scared. We all have those emotions. And I think we all get to a point, or several times in our life, we get to the point where we're asking, is this where I want to be? Is this really all there is? Why am I unhappy? What kind of brought me to the place where I wrote that book, Cathy, is that I lived, think about when you were a little girl, right?
Yeah.
Did you dream about having, the perfect wedding and the perfect husband, or marrying the prince and being a princess, or, you had this vision, right?
Right. And I was going to cook in an easy bake oven. Right?
Absolutely. I told my mom I was going to stay at home and cook chocolate chip cookies.
All I ever wanted to be was a mommy. That's what I used to tell my mom. I want to be a mom when I grow up.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we get to that point, and then, okay, so I did. I grew up. I moved to the cities. I got married. I had a baby. I was not a stay-at-home mom. I'm not a good stay-at-home mom. I always said I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom when my kids are, out of the house, because I'm better at that.
Yeah.
But, you know, life didn't turn out quite that way. We got married and it was tumultuous. We fought, we yelled, we screamed, I cried. You know, it wasn't any fun. And I got out of my first marriage. And life was okay. I mean, I was doing great in my career, and, you know, I had this cute little girl and all that good stuff. I met this guy.
How old was she when you divorced?
She was 3 when we split,
Okay.
but she was 5 by the time the divorce was final.
Okay.
And I met this guy who, a beautiful time in New York. Long story short, it was bad, and later found out he was hooked up with the mafia, and so,
Oh my God.
you know, when you talk about why you don't say anything, well, because I feared for my life.
Right.
You know, you don't get to just say I'm done and walk away. So, you know, that brought me to a lot of abuse. He beat me the night my dad died. I thought I was going to die along with my dad.
Oh, honey.
Wow. Oh, it was, yeah, terrible. Yeah, I was real surprised to wake up the next day.
Oh my gosh. Were you married to him?
No, thank God. I was engaged, and I tell people I was engaged because I knew I couldn't say no when he asked me.
Right.
I knew we would never get married. So I had, you know, went through the whole restraining order thing, and
Right.
cops at my house a lot. And actually, it got to a point where if my parents couldn't find me, they would call the cops, and the cops would come to my house to make sure I was okay. Yeah. So that made me much stronger.
Oh my gosh, yes. So, honestly, how long were you with him?
2.5 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I met on vacation in Cancun, Mexico.
Fun. Yeah. So it's all fun.
Oh, yeah. You know, and of course, didn't know it at the time, but it was all drug money.
Wow.
You know,
Right.
I had a great time. And, yeah. And then he came to Minnesota to visit and never left.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, which was, you know, great and wonderful. And oh my God, you know, I was 4, I think.
Right.
No,
oh my gosh,
I must have been
romantic.
28.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's like,
And I was
that's a
so
fairy
flattered. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Living the dream, right?
Right. Wait, and that song by Toby Keith hadn't come out yet. What happens down in Mexico stays in Mexico. So you didn't know that yet.
No.
Now we know.
Uh-uh.
Right? I'm sorry.
No, so I brought it all home with me.
Yeah, you did. No more of that, young lady. Never again.
Yeah, no, I learned a really valuable lesson there. Yeah. So that was really a very hard time. I was always safe when my daughter was home. He was never mean when she was there. But when she would go to her dad's and it was just us, you know, and I would say if we drank, it was like, you know, in the Gremlin movie when they get wet, they get mean.
Oh my God.
That's exactly what it was like. So, then I finally kind of got through that. I still look around when I enter new places, like expecting him to pop up at some time.
I don't blame you. How long ago was it?
The last time I saw him or any sign of him was in 1999.
Okay.
So it's been a long time.
He can stay in last century. Just like I left people in last year, he's in the last century. He doesn't get to come through.
And I love that you did that.
Thank you. I needed to.
It doesn't, I mean, it's a great realization because, you know what? It doesn't make them bad people.
Right.
It just makes them not right for you.
Thank you. Exactly. And actually, some of them I don't think are very good people. Like,
right.
wow. Like people that aren't, you know, when you're a giving person.
Yes.
And they take advantage of that. I don't feel like they're very good people.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And they just don't get to be in your world.
That's right. But you and Elena do, and I'm really excited.
Yay!
Okay, so, all right. You went through that.
Yeah.
And talking about different eras in your life, okay,
Oh.
those are some major eras.
Yeah. Well, and through that, I had gotten laid off with AT&T after being there 10.5 years.
Uh-huh.
So now I'm going through this terrible, scary, frightening thing. I'm a single mom, and I've lost my job.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh yeah, my dad passed away. So, and he was 51 when he passed.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is where people are like, well, how can you be okay? How are you functioning? And I'm like, well, because, I don't have a choice.
Right. Well,
you got to go on.
You're a mom. When you're a mom, you have other responsibilities.
Yep.
You have to do.
Yep.
You have to do things.
And you know what? I can let that kick my butt.
Yeah.
Or I can kick its butt. So I chose to, not be a victim, to suck it up and figure out how to move forward.
Right.
So then I met this guy who was, he's a nice guy. He's very calm. Any other time in my life, I wouldn't have given him the time of day. But
because he would have been boring.
Right? Totally.
I know those kind of guys. Yes.
Yep. And we got married. Okay. And it was one of those, oh my God, I just have to live a safe life.
Yeah.
And so we were married for 10 years.
Okay.
So 2 years into our marriage, when we got married, we weren't having any kids, blah, blah, blah. And oops, I got pregnant, which, of course was my fault. Because apparently we get to choose when we're pregnant and when we're not.
Right. Yeah.
And, that was not something he wanted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was really a very hard thing that we never recovered from. And to his defense, he in the big scheme of things, he's a good dad.
Right.
He's a selfish dad, but he makes sure his kid is taken care of. Now that he's older, my son is now 14, they can do stuff. They can build stuff, and they're very smart, book smart people, so they can do that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it's fine. But he and I never recovered from that. My son is, I never want him to know this, ever. That his dad wanted me to have an abortion, and I wouldn't.
Nope.
Yeah.
But he's meant to be here. I understand that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I said, here we are. Okay, we had a big, beautiful house. We both had good jobs. We had cars. We went on vacation. We didn't fight. We never fought. There was nothing to fight about. We didn't have a drinking problem. We didn't have a drug problem. We didn't have a gambling problem. And, I have no reason to not have this.
Right.
And from the outside looking in, we had it all. And we never fought, so people thought we had this perfect marriage. But, Cathy, I cried every day.
Oh.
Right? I would tell myself, you have nothing to complain about. You have a great job. You've got a great family. You've got a great house. You've got everything everybody wants. You've got money in the bank. You've got a cabin. You've got a pool in your backyard. You've got a Mercedes in the garage. You've got nothing to complain about. But meanwhile, inside those doors, inside my little white picket fence life,
right,
it was really sad. And although we didn't fight, we really didn't connect. I slept upstairs, he slept downstairs.
No, you're lonely. You were lonely in your house.
I was lonely. I was laying people off at my job. I was fighting against some corporate ethic issues. My daughter was at that preteen, teenager part of her life where she was trying drugs, and I didn't want to tell anyone that, and so I was trying to cope with that, and I just hated life so much.
I completely understand. Wow. No, and you know what, Gary, I see that so many times.
Right?
We all look at people that have that white picket fence life and automatically think, wow, I wish I had what she had. But nobody knows.
Yep.
Like, we all have our things. I mean, I can completely relate. Wow. Okay. Go on.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you tell yourself,
yeah.
Put your line in. Put your line in.
Yeah.
Well, come to about, let's see, 2009. So we had gone through, the big economic up and down.
Yeah.
We laid off about between 500 and 600 people in a 6-month period of time.
And that's the hardest thing.
So
hard.
Yeah. I would walk into the building and people would whisper, "What's the fire lady doing here?"
Oh, great. Yep.
Or, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And it was like, oh my God, I was like, doomsday walking in the door. Everyone hated to see me. And my stepdad died in 2011. So now we jump ahead to 2011. My marriage has gone to crap. My daughter is, let me just say, I never got in trouble. I was your geeky, totally good kid. I never got in trouble. I didn't go to parties, blah, blah, blah. I have this kid who is trying everything and doing everything, and she went from being a straight A student to barely, passing, and I don't know how to deal with that. Now, my dad had died years earlier at 51. My stepdad dies at 64.
Oh, my gosh.
5 months later, my sister dies at 40.
Oh, what? Oh, no.
Yeah. My husband and I decide we're going to get divorced, and I am like, I'm so done. And I'm, like I said, I have been kind of butting up with these ethical issues, and I pushed back, and, I was in a man's world. I was in manufacturing,
Uh-huh.
and I was the token woman, and, and they tried to do it right, but yet it was for show more than anything.
Right. I understand that, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to a point where I just said, what? I can't do this. I have the title, I have the position, even though I might not have the say, because you guys are making decisions that I don't agree with that affect me and our employees. And I'm like, I'm not doing this, and I'm not creating pay inequities, and I'm not going to do this. These don't make sense. You're doing them for the wrong reasons. And so then, there was some friction there. So all this was going on, and we finally, at work, came to an agreement. It was all amicable. It was fine. It worked out for the best for everybody. So I left there. I left my marriage.
Wow.
And I just decided, you know what, Cathy? It was the right time for me to say, I am going to live my life the way I want to live it. I grew up, like we all do, with certain beliefs that are taught to us,
right.
Values that we're supposed to have, whether we do or not. In my world, you went to the Catholic Church or you went to the wrong church.
Mm-hmm.
You did this, and this. You got married. You had babies. You lived happily ever after, or not.
You just dealt with that. You made your bed. You lay in it.
Yeah,
right.
And I was taught boys marry girls, and girls marry boys, and this is how life works. So I just said, you know what? it's time for me to go outside the white picket fence life. I'm not. I had kind of quit practicing religion, if you will. I'm a Christian.
Right.
I don't identify with any specific religion at this point. I would say I'm much more spiritual than religious.
Okay.
I can take care of myself. I don't need to have a guy to take care of me. And I was never good at that role of being the submissive wife.
Oh my God, I'm not either.
Real hard.
Like, don't tell me what to do. Oh my God.
Right? Because if you tell me that I have to do something, you can bet I'm not going to do it.
Right. I know.
Right? It just makes it, even if that's what you want to do, now you don't want to do it, right?
Well, I know. It's like, I have to completely go against this. Dang it. I really wanted that donut. Told me, we can't have it.
Oh, I love you. So I came out of the closet, and I moved to an apartment, well, actually a townhouse that I bought.
Uh-huh.
I started dating a woman. I bought a Harley Davidson. I got my motorcycle license.
Wait, okay, so I have to back up though. You got out from behind the picket fence and came out of the closet like all around the same time?
Oh yeah. Oh, all at the same time.
So do you think maybe that was why all those years you were crying?
Absolutely it was. Absolutely.
Did you know?
And I say this in my book.
Well, I'm going to read your book. But did you know that was why you were crying back then?
User joined your channel.
Yes and no.
Uh-huh.
I always knew something wasn't right, and this is what I was going to say. This is what I say in the book. I'm a very sexual person. I love the act of sex.
Uh-huh.
I would run into the bathroom and gag.
Yeah, here's your sign.
Every single time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It was terrible.
I used to...
It was this total love-hate thing.
I know.
I love it. Oh, my God.
Right?
Yeah.
No, that's crazy. My ex-husband made me do that, too. Now,
really?
It was just him, though, not other. Oh, I just didn't like it. I just found I didn't like it with him. I hope he never listens. I'm sorry.
Well,
yeah.
And then you go there. You go, and, maybe it's just this one. Well, after, a couple of, maybe it's just this one.
No.
It's probably not just that one. And then I ended up meeting this woman who I was, head over heels for, and I got my heart broke bad. But I'm like, yep, this is where I'm supposed to be. I knew, and it was like, yep, I'm done playing the game. I'm done living the way everyone else thinks I should live.
Bless your heart. I love that.
And, was it hard? Heck yeah.
Oh my gosh. Because it's but you left, I mean, think of like how I left so many people in last year.
Correct.
Wow, this is an era. I love it. Tell me more.
Yeah.
Tell me more. Okay.
Yeah. Well, so during my divorce, I had bought a Harley. I got my motorcycle license, and I would ride with my brother.
Uh-huh.
The woman I fell madly in love with used to ride. That's what started the whole thing, and then she, like I said, broke my heart, whatever. But I would ride with my brother. So one day we, I have a little bit of a sense of humor. So I called my brother and I said, hey, let's go tell Mom that I'm a Harley riding lesbian. He was like, are you trying to give her a heart attack? I said, no, but it'll be fun and you'll be there to, share in the fun. So we rode up to my mom's and, talked her to death that we were riding bikes. Well, but I was anyway. She knew my better road. So we got past that, and then I told her that I was dating someone. And she said, oh, okay, who? And I'm like, well, you don't know her, but I'm dating a woman. And she looked at me, she's like, why?
Why?
And I said, well, why not? I said, because I can. And I said, because it's finally time for me to start living my life my way. You know, and thankfully for me, because a lot of people don't have the support, my family's fine. They're like, whatever.
Right.
My mom's biggest thing was, why now?
Yeah.
You know, you're 40-something. I don't remember exactly how old I was. She's like, why now? And I'm like, because it wasn't okay. Because, you know, I grew up knowing this and being told that, and it wasn't okay. So I kept trying to live the okay life. And honestly, I could have stayed married to Max's dad forever.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, we didn't fight.
Right.
But I was just tired of being sad.
How do your kids feel about this?
My, you know, it was hard on them to be for the divorce. You know,
Yeah.
Gabby, my oldest daughter, she kept saying, you know, I don't want to lose another dad. Because her dad was not very involved in her life. He's kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
So Max's dad ended up being a better father to her. But as far as me dating a woman, she's always been a supporter, an ally. You know, she's got lots of friends that are LGBT and stuff, so she was fine. She didn't care. And Max was little. And, you know, it didn't really faze him at all, and now, you know, he's in a world that, like I said, he has all kinds of friends, which I love, so he doesn't care. And you know this, but for your listeners, I recently got married.
Yay!
And it was really cool.
Well, and so this is your new era. This is your new chapter.
Oh my God.
So, okay, tell us quick, because I'm just, oh my gosh, see, remember how you're like, how are we going to have time to talk in an hour? How much are we going to talk about?
Oh my God, I know, right?
Right, because it's like we've got 5 minutes. So tell me how you met. Because this is now you're in your new era. So,
right. Well, we met pretty much just like exactly what's happening right now, Kathy. I interviewed her for a project I was doing. We met in a Women's Speaker Association, and we were talking, and she wanted to get into motivational speaking, which is what I was doing. And so I interviewed her just like you're interviewing me. It was a video series, though, so we were on Skype. And we, you know, recorded the story, whatever, and then, you know, ended recording, and we're just sitting there talking. We talked for, I think, 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
And we talked every day since, and she ended up moving here from Michigan, and, you know, now we own a business together. Well, actually, we own 2 businesses together. We are married, and, you know, my son was the first one. I sent him a picture. She gave me this beautiful ring box that said, will you be my forever? And he texted me back, and he's like, yes, say yes. So, yeah.
That's what our... oh, look it. You made me cry. You did it.
We made everybody cry at the wedding.
Oh, gosh, yes. You know, that all our kids ever want, just like what we want for our kids,
yes,
they want us to be happy, too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And my kids would say that, and they do say that. And they love having 2 moms. I mean,
oh my gosh.
You know,
what's better than a mom? Seriously.
I know, that's what I said, man. I could do this more.
I have a great dad, but yeah. I mean, moms. I mean,
absolutely. I mean, I would kill to have a dad again.
Oh, man. Well, you guys can meet my dad. You're invited to come up to the cabin this summer, for sure.
Awesome.
My dad. My dad is a hoot. He'll be 80 in June.
Aww.
I will invite you to the party for sure. It's
fun.
Yeah, it's very fun. Wow. And so tell everybody, now look, we ran out of time, but tell everybody real quick about your business and kind of how we got together.
Yeah, so we own a big bar restaurant even up on Long Lake in Isani called Captain's Lakeside Grill. And we, we actually have 2 full functioning bar and restaurants on the property. And we do weddings and things like that. And so we do a lot of entertainment and a lot of parties. And so, through a mutual acquaintance, we got put together, and now we are going to help you guys throw a party for this big Super Bowl week that's coming up.
Yes, and I talked about this last week. My dear friend Robert Griffith, his partner, co-founder Steve Kim, have this bag called Zooks. It's a Zooks bag. It's a backpack. Go to Zooks, XOOXbag.com. You're going to see that. They're the sponsors of the zip line. So Jerry and Elena, got pulled in. This stuff's been happening so fast. But yeah,
so fast.
Stupid fast, where it's like, what? But it's all going to happen. And that's what's really exciting. We're going to have a really good time. We're going to put more information out on social media. But I want everybody to, just watch real closely. And where can they go buy your book?
On Amazon.
All right.
It's on Amazon, Beyond the White Picket Fence.
Beyond the White Picket Fence, everybody. Jerry, thank you for talking about...
Thank you, my love.
And letting me come into this new era in your life, too.
I'm so pleased to have you. You make it a much better place.
You, too. All right. We will talk to you soon. Thank you, hon.
All right. Thank you, dear.
Bye-bye now. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
We will see you next week on New Era Talk. Actually, we won't see you. We'll listen. How's that? Have a great week. Bye.
What y'all trying to